Dun, 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 dun. You know that song?
That was
really
fun.
That was really good.
Saturday in the Park, is that what you're doing there?
Yeah, that is what it is. Yeah. Right?
That's 25 or 60.
Oh, 25 or 60.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the rock and roll one.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's all sing together. My goal is to like annoy Michelle by the end.
Crushed it.
Hello and welcome to Foreword. We're your hosts. I'm Josh Jipp.
I'm Madison Pierce.
I'm Fellipe Dovale.
I'm Michelle Knight.
And I'm James Arcadi.
Well, it's really good to be back in the studio. Yeah. Beautiful here. Fun to be back together, right?
All of us here. Yeah. And it's looking a lot better than it has in the past.
Looks great.
Yeah, we've done some hard work. And we have new coffee mugs, so that's pretty special.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Some of us have coffee and some of us don't, but that's okay. We've been there
we've
before.
shattered the illusion, haven't we?
We're supposed to be faking that. But here we are. Of course, for those of you who are just listening to audio, do recognize we've got a pretty sweet video setup. So you might want to check out our YouTube page because we're looking pretty good, really. Especially now that Fellipe is here.
Wow.
Front and center.
It's a new face. But you know, the studio isn't the only thing that really changed this summer. Something else really important happened to us.
Do tell, Michelle.
Josh got a smartphone.
What?
It's true. Even just like 10 days ago.
Yeah,
How are you-
Could
this
you give
is
us a
breaking
tour?
news.
Give us a tour of this new phone.
Well, I've got... This is what it looks like. And
It's an iPhone to those listening.
I've got Facebook Messenger that I use. I use Mail.
I think there's like 3 non-native apps on
I
here.
use
Can you get MySpace
the
on?
clock. And then I love to use this app Health and to see how many steps I do.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Can you give us a
Pretty fun.
rank of your favorite apps? Is there...
So probably music. Music would be
okay.
number 1, Mail number 2, Health number 3.
How do you get your music by any chance? Do you like record? Do you like upload CDs or like
So
how are you?
I have this cassette player at home, and I wait for a song to come on the radio that I
Sure.
like,
And
and,
you
then I
record
hit play and record,
Wow.
and then I say, Amber, here's the cassette. Can you get that on my phone? And she does
And
it.
she does it.
Yeah.
Old
I
school.
have a really important question.
Okay.
What's a cassette?
So a cassette, it looks about like this. It's a little box type thing. Well, how old are you again?
I'm just joking.
You're not that much.
Yeah, it was a joke.
It was a good
Thank
joke.
you.
Yeah.
I liked it. I do think that I have one cassette like in my possession. Like I haven't gotten rid of
The
my
one I gave you.
I have two. I have two. The mixtape. No, I have a mixtape. Like I have a legit vintage mixtape that I made for myself. I mean, it wasn't
You
like
better
a
have
love
made that
gift.
for yourself. If anyone else made that, it'd be a little...
Creepy for Kenyon.
I don't think I
probably.
have any players anymore. I mean, I have a whole
Yeah, I
like
can't
box
play
of
it,
tapes, but I don't have
someday
anything to
I'll
play
like
it on.
break into a museum and get a cassette player, you know, and then I'll record it onto something. I don't know. One of these days.
I do just want to say it was not my plan to get a smartphone. It was, they basically made all the other phones obsolete except one for people with like visual impairment.
The jitterbug, right?
I don't know what it is, but it's like this huge flip phone with like huge numbers. And it was either go to that or get a smartphone. And Amber came home with a smartphone. So
I just feel like this makes our lives easier.
So
It's
much
only a
easier.
little bit about you. It's
I'm still
really
the one
just
controlling the phone. I
know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's revisit
it
this
might
in a
control
year.
you. That's
yeah,
the problem.
Yeah.
that's my fear.
Well, today we are so excited to talk about Josh's phone. Just kidding. We're also really excited to introduce a new member of the podcast team, Fellipe Dovale. Today we're going to be focusing a bit more on introducing him, getting to know him, and kind of introducing him to our listener and viewer audience. So Fellipe is a new professor here at TEDS, just starting off this fall. But he's not new to TEDS. He did his 2 master's degrees here in church history and in systematic theology. Is that right?
That's right.
Previously, before that, did undergrad at Calvin University, and most recently finished his PhD at Southern Methodist University in systematic theology and ethics. Is that kind of the area?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah, roughly. A native Brazilian, spent a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest, but maybe a bit more time recently in these central states here in the United States. So I'm excited to have you a part of my department. It's great to have a systematic theologian here on this team to balance out the New Testament components here. Sorry, Michelle, that you're getting a little more isolated here in your disciplinary area, but no, we're really excited to have you around here. And so I'm just kind of curious, Fellipe, if you might just start off talking to us a little bit about your academic journey, like kind of what led you into studying theology and going on and doing a PhD and coming to teach in a seminary.
Yeah, thanks, James. I should say, too, it's a huge privilege to be here. It's everybody's been so lovely, so kind, so hospitable, and I've been really grateful. I really can't believe it. Still feels like I'm in a dream. But yeah, so like you said, I was born in Brazil. Sort of I think I would have called myself nominally Christian. I kind of grew up in a Catholic home, but for a lot of it, it was just sort of in the air, not so much in practice. Yeah. When I moved to the United States, I was 7 years old, moved to Seattle, Washington. So the Pacific Northwest is area I know quite well. But, with different things going on, moving to a new country, any kind of religion that was in my life sort of faded away. And I think to the point where I would say that I was an atheist until about high school. And then in high school, I was in a band. I was a guitarist for a band.
Weren't we all?
Yeah. We've all been there.
But the drummer for my band invited me to a youth group all-nighter. Yeah. And that is probably like the least effective evangelistic tool you can imagine, but it worked on me. All right. Maybe I was just really willing.
Praise God.
But yeah, and that's where I began to learn what Christianity was all about. And it was through Bible study at that church. And then from then, I was always really enjoyed reading, really enjoyed teaching, really enjoyed writing. And so naturally found myself in this kind of position and love it so far, so I'm really excited. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got into it. And I did a degree in philosophy at Calvin.
Okay, cool.
And I kind of was like, I thought maybe I could go into philosophy. And then I realized that I kind of only like philosophy insofar as it allows me to talk about God. So I had a really wise mentor who said, well, maybe you should just be a theologian. And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't know you could do that. And so then I learned about that and came to TEDS, did 2 MAs, did a fun fact, I did 1 thesis for 2 MAs. I had to get special permission to do a thesis that was twice as long, which I did in 1 summer.
Students know it's possible to do.
It is. It's maybe not advisable, but I didn't see much sunlight that summer. So then, it's sort of a homecoming to be back at TEDS. It's really pleasant.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome to have you here.
Thanks.
Well, I think I get to ask a kind of fun get-to-know-you question. So this might seem trivial, but to me, and I think to you, it's actually a really important question. So what are some of your favorite shows?
Oh, yeah. There is no more important question, right?
Right?
Some of my favorite shows. I mean, right now, since it's on my mind so much, Ted Lasso. I mean,
so good.
It's early because it's only 1 season and at the time of recording 2 episodes. But my goodness, like, is there a better crafted show that both tugs at the heartstrings and says something comedic and really? So anyway, it's just brilliant. And I'm a big soccer fan, so it's an easy way to get me into something. But so Ted Lasso.
What soccer team are you a fan of, Fellipe?
James, it's funny you mentioned this. Yeah. Have you, James Arcadi, heard of Liverpool Football Club?
I have indeed.
That is in fact the team I support.
Go Reds.
Yes, Ted's is Reds. Yeah.
Hashtag,
yeah. Sweet little bromance. Just keep going, guys. Yeah,
I need to know your very favorite Ted Lasso quote, ideally.
Well, the one I have up in my office is "Be curious, not judgmental," which is originated from somebody else, but he says it in a brilliant moment in the show, which is I think a good intellectual virtue, and just in fact, be curious, not judgmental. But recently in season 2, there's a new contender where he says all people are different people, and I like that too. Yeah,
that's a neat moment.
Yeah, so Ted Lasso, that's a big one, and I mean, the big ones, The Office, Parks and Rec, that kind of thing. I mean, I think I've seen those so many times that if you cut me open, it'll be Office quotes, I quite like those. I'm trying to think of things that are a bit more serious. I don't watch a ton of serious TV other than Liverpool. I take that quite seriously. And that's on TV, so.
I have an important follow-up though, like The Office or Parks and Rec, like if you could only pick one.
If I could only pick one, oh goodness.
And follow up with who's your favorite character in that show?
Oh my word!
Let me get specific.
I've got a 6-part question.
Yeah. No, you're asking the hard-hitting questions today. Office or Parks and Rec? Oh,
This is serious journalism.
I think oh my goodness, there are fewer moments that make me want to like walk out of a room in Parks and Rec, you know? So
The Office is so cringy.
yeah.
Yes.
Like I feel more comfortable showing my in-laws Parks and Rec, so maybe that gives it an advantage. What would be my favorite character on Parks and Rec? Oh, you know, it's got to be Ben Wyatt.
Me too.
Yeah, all right,
Yes.
yeah,
I was going to say
right,
that's so weird, but that's my absolute favorite.
I think I can
love
identify
Ben.
with him probably closest.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Ben.
So yeah. No, I think those are the big ones. Those are the big ones.
Okay. Wow. I don't know how y'all can follow that up, but
No, it's
by all
tough.
means.
What's that guy that's like, he's always coming and being like, the worst.
Oh, that's John Ralphio. He's amazing.
John Ralphio.
Yeah. That's so weird because I think of you as John Ralphio too.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right. So let me try to, lighten the mood even. No, I'm just kidding. One of the things I'm curious about, Fellipe, is we all as professors have to make decisions in terms of what are we going to study? What are we interested in? And I'm sure all of us could be interested in a variety of things, but I'm curious, what are some of your interests and how do you decide what you're going to write on or what you're going to research on? What goes into your thought process there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the area in which I specialize is theology and gender. So that's what I did my dissertation on. That's what I do a lot of my writing and thinking about. And it seems to be one of those topics that there's always something new to think about. So that's kept me busy quite a bit. How did I get into that? I was actually at Calvin and I was taking a philosophy of gender class, which I had no idea about. And it was just a class that knocked out 3 of my degree requirements. And I thought, I'll take that. I was kind of the slacker's way out, but I knocked out 3 of my degree requirements. I just sat in it and I was just stimulated by the questions being asked and also amazed that there weren't as many Christian theologians talking about these questions in a sophisticated way, in a way that was sensitive to the concerns at hand. And yeah, I kind of felt myself gripped by those sorts of questions. There are days though where I wish I was working on something different, if I'm perfectly honest, because it can be such a hard topic to work through because you're always dealing. It's never impersonal. There's always a personal dynamic involved. And so, so I think broadly speaking, I tend to work in the intersection of theological anthropology and moral theology. And so I'll be teaching courses on race and political theology and things like that. Just what does it mean to be human in a way that's, informed by the sorts of social considerations that make life so complex, but also so richly textured. So that's, I don't know, and I guess it's just a curiosity. That's to quote Ted Lasso, I'm very curious about these things, and that's gripped me so far. I don't know, maybe one day I'll just up and decide to work on something different. Like I don't know, maybe I'll take over the Eucharist or something.
Sure, the more the merrier.
Yeah, that's right. The water's warm.
There's plenty of room around the table for something like that.
Yeah, good.
James, you're pushing hard into that like old professor joke, with the.
I mean,
it's pretty good. You're there.
Yeah.
But most of them are like kind of like lived experiences, it seems like, in terms of what really grabs you. And yeah. I mean, theological anthropology is an interesting field in that there are some pretty settled questions, like what's the image of God, and do we have souls, and if we have souls, what are they like? But what I've come to find is that when you get into the sort of, the more contested issues like gender, people tend to do one of 2 things. Either they will just keep it at arm's distance and not want to talk about it, and they want to talk about those most recognizable features of systematic theology and theological anthropology, or they'll want to dive straight in, but then forget the sorts of virtues that comprise the tasks of systematic theology. And I haven't seen too much work. There is some, but not too much work that keeps those 2 interests together, namely treating highly contested topics like gender and race in a way that's recognizably theological and primarily informed by the gospel. And so that's what I really care about that. And that keeps me interested. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering a little bit kind of about your experiences with the church and things. And I'm going to frame this question in terms of sort of this cultural moment where so many people are kind of acknowledging and talking about the way the church has harmed them and how hard it can be to be a part of the church. And so my question to you is, I mean, you are in the church actively. Why are you here? Why do you keep coming back to the church? What about the church gives you hope and joy as you participate in its life?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is hard because, we are in a moment where a lot is coming to light in terms of church impropriety.
Yeah.
And I do get really, really discouraged every day. And it seems to be in every corner.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of writing on sexual assault, for instance, is particularly interesting to me. And it's rampant, it's everywhere. And it's difficult to find a denomination that isn't working through that kind of thing because it's come home to roost in a significant way. So it is. I find myself constantly discouraged, so it keeps me coming back. And, one temptation would be to think that the way out of these things would be for us to kind of pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. And I shouldn't say, I want to caveat what I'm going to say by saying that it's incredibly important to have exemplary pastors to whom we should look, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to me like it would be very difficult to expect the entire church to be filled with exemplary pastors, people who are, over and above, those are going to be fewer and far between. So what can we expect? And, one of my great heroes, and probably my favorite theologian, is St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Now, what did St. Augustine do when he became a pastor? He became a pastor reluctantly, right? And then he became a bishop. First thing he did is write a book where he told everybody all his sins. Which is like, it's terribly counterintuitive, isn't it? Mm. But why did he do that? He did it because he did it for a lot of ways. He wants to interweave his story with the story of God and what God is doing in the world. But he also, I think, thought it important for Christian leaders to be transparent, vulnerable, and open about their weaknesses.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me hope is when I see churches that model well what it means to boast in our weaknesses, like St. Paul tells us to do, and to, I understand that what we have is not a perfect society full of people who have everything together, but we get that what we do when we get together for church is gather under a gospel that tells us that our worth and everything we are is not attributable to anything other than having received the gift of Christ.
Yeah.
And what that does is allows us to be open and weak and vulnerable. Yeah. And so I tend to emphasize a low anthropology, an understanding of human beings under sin, where we're okay with being vulnerable and weak with one another.
Yeah.
Insofar as that's a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
So, and when I see that done well, I get really excited and get really hopeful about the church, particularly when it comes to issues of gender and all of the rest of it. So, yeah.
That's really exciting.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that.
Do you have a word for kind of our students who are here, they're preparing for ministry, they're kind of watching this moment, and the stakes are high. Mm-hmm. Do you have a word for them?
Yes, sure. I would say, so one of the things I repeat quite often to churches and to anybody who kind of asks me about what to do in the face of this stuff is to care about individuals. Sometimes we lose the trees for the forest when we think about pastoral ministry. And we get so concerned about the directions in which the culture is heading that we forget that when it comes to issues of gender and race and disability and all that sort of thing, we're dealing with people who have burning questions, who need gospel guidance in particularly sensitive aspects of their lives.
Yeah.
And if we reduce their stories and who they are to the background of some kind of cultural or political moment, then we haven't done them a service. We have erased their particularity in favor of something that's much more manageable. And I would advise anybody who wants to be a pastor, counselor, minister of any kind, not to do that, to care about the individual. I mean, I'm going to quote Ted Lasso again. I'm going to say all people are different people, right? And know that if you've met somebody who's struggling with, say, a question about trans, don't allow their story to bleed into some sort of cultural narrative.
Yeah.
Care about them as an individual, and learn and find out what they love, find out what they care about, find out the things that make them afraid, find out, and in so doing, establish the sorts of vibrant relationships of compassion and care that will allow us to take steps forward that are constructive. Yeah.
That's such a good word.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Felipe.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, so is it my turn?
It is
to take matters into my own hands, right? So
It's only fair.
I am not just a guest, but I'm now a host. I'm going to turn the tables on all of you and ask you a series of questions. They don't know, and nobody knows that I'm doing this, so this is all ad hoc. So here we go. My questions for you will take the form of would you rathers.
Oh, yes. Love
Okay. So I'm going to begin with James, and you can't think about this. This is from the hip, off the cuff. If you hesitate, you'll get a buzzer.
No puns. No puns here.
Well,
Josh, you're in
I'll do
charge
what
of the
I
buzzer.
can.
Okay.
all right, James.
Okay, and the buzzer is for puns or if someone's thinking too hard.
Correct.
Then I'm ready.
I'm gonna
Do you
I'm
want
actually-
rationale or just
totally
the
regret
Yeah,
saying
you can
Okay.
give me the answer, and if you want to elaborate, you can.
Okay. I'm ready.
More the merrier. All right.
Sure.
But I need the answer. Okay. Would you rather live in California but never see the sun, or live in the Midwest but only be able to go out when it's 25 degrees or less?
California, no sun.
Really?
That was an
No
easy.
question.
Yeah. But the thing you like best about California, you would never get to see. You'd be okay with that.
I mean, there's so much more
Yeah,
than just the
that's-
sun. Like
you forgot the Orange
like,
County punk
when
scene,
it's like
right?
when,
Yeah,
like when it's
avocados.
cloudy but still 75 degrees, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're saying that the sunless California is still 75 degrees?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
that seems improbable.
Sunless
scientifically.
California is better than 25-degree Midwest.
Okay.
Although I will say I do appreciate a nice crisp winter air with the sun shining and everything. That's nice.
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
anybody else feel personally attacked by that
A
answer?
bit. Yeah, a bit.
I
I'm
feel-
from Texas, so no.
All right, James. Your second. Would you
I have
rather?
two?
Yeah, you each have two. You each have two.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I was pretty quick, though, wasn't I?
No, you're great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't even close to using
No,
the buzzer.
I want to. Yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, you're wading in slowly. But second question: would you rather never be stuck in traffic again? Now you drive quite a bit from Wheaton, right?
do.
So you never be stuck in traffic again, or never get another cold.
I would rather never get another cold.
Yeah.
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 You get pretty bad colds.
I do get some bad colds, yeah. And I just don't like the annoyance of them. And the annoyance of being in traffic, maybe I'm used to it from my life in California.
Okay.
But yeah, getting a cold is way more annoying than sitting in traffic, in my humble opinion.
Does anybody else feel like now that, like, I think we're all parents, does anybody else feel like all of a sudden colds are just what you have all the time?
Absolutely.
Or am I like doing parenting wrong?
Oh, no, we get 5 people in our family. We get 3 kids. So it just goes one after another. And it turns out, well, we were sick for like 6 weeks, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I do think it's
Nobody's got
worse. Do you find it worse when they're littler?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's not as bad as it was for
That's
us.
because
when
they're doing things like lick things. Like my son, we were out to dinner with the Pierces, and my son was literally licking a chair in the age of COVID. And I was like, please, we're all going to die.
He's building up immunity, right? That's what it is.
Lord
You get
have
little
mercy.
doses there. He's like vaccinating
Yeah,
himself.
totally.
That's kind of gross.
I needed a witness. Like I needed beyond just medicine to know about the chaos I'm living with.
All right.
It happened.
Well,
Fair questions, thanks.
yeah.
Do good, James.
All right. Michelle,
Yes, sir.
I know you like tech.
Love it so
Yeah,
much.
I know you like tech. Would you
What these are.
rather have a completely automated home, like, Smart House Disney Channel original movie? You know that one?
I do.
Yeah, Smart House.
But this is a
But what-
hypothetical
yeah,
reality.
This is a and it doesn't turn on you. Yeah, so. Okay. So it's a positive smart house or a self-driving car.
I
Fully
want
automated home.
home for
Really?
sure.
Really? Why?
Part of this is because my husband's the one responsible for driving most of the time. It's not like
You already have an
it's-
automated car.
I very rarely have to drive. But at home, yeah, because home is where chaos is. The car, the toddler's contained.
Yeah.
And like everybody's doing their thing. We're going in one place. So like it is kind of, it's fine. I have the energy to drive the car. I have the focus to drive the car. At home, I have neither the energy nor the focus to like turn things off or remember to turn things on.
Do you have an ideal feature of a smart house that you would want or that you would use the most?
I mean, let me be clear that I have a pretty smart house.
Do you? Really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like,
All
you don't
right.
know this about me, but like when I walk into my house, it turns on like my coffee machine. It turns on the
You
lights.
walk in and it does that?
Yes. I use geofencing
What?
and it adjusts my thermostat.
Geofencing? What is
To
it?
be clear, while you guys all look at me like I'm
you're
crazy,
good.
the Pierces are there
Getting
too.
lost.
Okay.
But like when I tell it good night and it arms the alarm and it does this
Will
and
you
it
say
shuts
the
garage
words
door
good night
to Alexa. Yeah.
to Alexa and she goes, I know what that means.
No, she says good night.
And
then she does everything.
Secures the perimeter,
Yeah.
the geofence.
She turns on the sound machines. She adjusts the thermostat.
Yeah.
She changes the lighting. She locks the front door.
Wow. So
Wow.
this was settled before. I shouldn't even ask this
Yeah, when
question.
you asked it,
Would you rather?
yeah. Would you rather just
this is my
live
life.
your life
But
right now? Yeah.
I love it because it's like I don't have brain space to remember things beyond like keeping my kid healthy and my discipline.
Yeah.
Like there's no other brain space. So things like remembering to lock the front door, nobody's got time.
One last follow up. How much money would someone or myself have to pay you to make my house smart?
I won't do that.
You won't?
No, you know why? Not
free?
as much
Yeah,
for free.
okay.
I'd love
But
that.
here's
Okay.
why. I mean, the idea of setting it up is very fun, but I'm nervous
I'm a
about
little
being
offended,
on.
actually, but
I'm a little nervous about being ongoing tech support.
Oh,
So
okay,
like I
yeah.
have
You
been
think you become a leech?
perpetually in the 2 or 3 people
real
I've done
honest.
that kind of work for,
Mm-hmm.
I've never escaped their.
Their grasp.
You either call Alexa or call Michelle.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a little nerve wracking
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I could just say, hey, Michelle, lock my house. And then you would do it for me. Just-
But at this point, it sounds like Madison's your girl, so
Okay.
you're going to be okay.
All right. Second question for you then. This is also house really. I don't know why I did 2 house questions.
Cool,
but
I'll take it.
yeah. Would you rather live in a cave or live in a treehouse? This is like the anti-smart house question. Treehouse.
Treehouse.
Okay.
Because of Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know
that's
what I
fair.
mean? Something it idealized the treehouse situation. Now, here's the irony in that situation. I don't love heights, so I recognize that it would need to be like
Yeah.
a
short
certain
tree.
kind of tree.
Wait, no. Treehouse is going to be
Or
off the
bugs
ground.
or birds.
Yeah.
Well,
Raccoons.
right, but in a cave, all those things exist, but it's like dark and you don't know that they're coming, and it's a grosser kind of bug than the bugs that live in the trees.
Well, it depends. Are these 2 questions in the same like story world? Like,
It can be. I mean, do you want
does
a
Michelle
smart
have a smart
treehouse?
cave?
If I had like a well-lit cave, I'd be into it.
Yeah.
But I'm nervous about dark and dank. Also, humidity
Yeah.
is not.
I saw
Good
a
for my
video
hair.
recently of a guy who carved a house for himself out of a cave, like out of a stone wall.
Wow.
And he like made a stone table and everything and
That's
a
very
fully
cool.
functioning kitchen.
Was Excalibur in there?
No,
I hope not.
no, he was just I think he was in Taiwan, I think. But anyway,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm still going treehouse, Swiss Family Robinson style.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Madison, would you rather, this is similar to the question you asked me. So you asked me a TV question, I'll ask you a TV question. Would you rather watch only one TV show for the rest of your life or only be able to watch episodes once? Could never repeat episodes.
The first.
The first, yeah.
Yeah.
Only watch one TV show.
As long as I get to pick it.
What is it?
It might be Parks and Rec.
Yeah. It does. It does hold up. It does hold up. Okay. Would you rather, here's your second one. Would you rather give up all drinks except for water? Right? Well, yeah. Or give up eating anything that was cooked in an oven?
Oven.
You would just eat only things that were not cooked in an
Yeah.
oven? Really?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of things in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a new smoker. And
Oh.
You could grill.
grill.
Does that count as an oven though? Like,
So Curtis
It's
just
like
got
a-
a new smoker and he's making some delicious things. But my
Yeah.
dad also like exclusively cooks on the grill and and can do quite a bit. So
I guess,
that
like-
seems reasonable to me. And pots, I mean, you're not talking about like the stove. You're just saying the oven. So I mean, microwave is still a thing.
wow, you're finding all the loopholes here. This is wow.
Air fryer.
I did not
Felipe,
think through all of these.
You
Wow.
are talking to a camper extraordinaire also.
that's
Madison
true.
is like ready to live over the
Yeah.
campfire if necessary.
Could you, I mean, like, you have a pan
Mhm.
and some sticks and some bits of rock and
From my
cook-
cave.
from Michelle's
yeah.
treehouse and cave combo. Could you make a meal? Like,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
I mean,
Like,
I'm not
you'd
going
have
to eat
you'd
the
have to
rocks.
forage
I
and
think there's
hunt.
a parable
and all
about that. But yeah.
That's
Can we do forwarding from the campsite? Is that eventually?
there you go.
Ooh, no,
Have
I
it.
don't want to do that.
Oh, you don't.
I would do
Hard
parkour. Yeah.
Okay. Finally, Josh.
Yes.
Well, maybe James, you can buzz him if
Yeah.
he takes.
Oh, sure.
Because
Yeah.
he was a little aggressive on that last buzz.
I wanted to use it at least one time.
Yeah.
As
And you were just running
Mercy.
out of opportunities.
Yeah.
So poor Madison.
Yeah.
Always
there was a
bullying me,
little
Josh.
delay.
No grace here.
No.
So you're a music guy, right? You know the music app on the
I know
iPhone.
some music
Yeah.
that I like. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is
Doesn't know the
Not
roots.
all the cool.
Doesn't
not all
know
the
the
cool
roots.
music. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Well,
Learn that
it's
beforehand.
impossible to know all the cool music,
Yeah.
right? I mean, God knows all the cool music, but
All right,
I wouldn't
let's-
imagine anybody else.
Indeed.
Would you rather be forced to dance every time you heard music, or forced to sing along to any song you heard, assuming you know the words intuitively?
That's a good one.
Probably forced to dance.
Yeah, you got moves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if other people like them or if they're, but I mean, I definitely have,
You got moves.
Yeah, you could ask my kids,
Well,
who are
Wouldn't you
in my
rather just do
office.
both,
I mean,
though, wouldn't you?
I mean, I was thinking like, there was going to be sort of like a zero-sum game kind
Yeah.
of thing involved here, but it's like, both of those
That's
sound
fair.
great.
Well, so you're at a wedding.
Okay.
You know, people are getting loose, getting funky.
Mm-hmm.
What's go-to Josh dance move? What wedding dance floor?
I don't know if it has a name. These
we
are things.
we have
But he's
new
got one in
cameras.
mind.
I mean, I'm probably going to do some, like.
Yeah, finger. You start with the fingers. Okay.
Well, I can't really like dance on.
That's just
should
a
I get
dad
on the
dance.
table?
I mean,
Don't
you
do
can,
that.
I don't know.
but
That's
that looks like a
completely
dad
inappropriate.
part. It's like a kind of.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is a dad dance. I am a dad
Well,
with 3 kids.
Sure.
I listen to dad music.
Yeah.
What does dad music consist of?
Well, I would say like classic dad music would be like Wilco.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's not where I was going.
Jeff Tweedy, like mid 50s, and most. I mean, I don't think like
Yeah.
teenagers and college kids are maybe the cool ones, but
When I think of dad music, I don't think of Wilco though.
No.
No, maybe we're thinking of our
Oh, you
dads.
should-
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm thinking of my
they
father.
even on their. Well, I'll show you later.
Like, I think
but
of, like-
they on their on Father's Day they always make fun of themselves. I mean, I don't know if they're
Okay.
making fun of themselves, but it's like
Yeah.
dad.
I think
dad
of like
rock.
Kenny G when I think of dad music.
Oh.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Chicago's
Yeah,
what I was
Chicago's
thinking.
dad music.
Boston.
I think it's passed on because dads are younger now. I don't think that many dads are listening
Yeah.
to Chicago.
Yeah.
Heard of those.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
You know that song?
that was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
That was really
Right.
good.
Saturday in the
Anyways.
Park. Is that what you're doing there?
Yeah. That is what it is. Yeah. Right?
That's 25 or 60.
Oh, 25 or 60.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the rock and roll one.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's all sing together. My goal is to like annoy Michelle by the end.
Crushed it.
The best. All right.
All right, Josh.
One more for me.
Yeah. This is good.
Okay.
Would you rather be a reverse centaur or a reverse merman? So horse on top, person bottom.
Horse on
or
top.
Fish
I
on
know.
top. person
Hold off on the
bottom.
buzzer, James. Okay, so horse on top and person on bottom.
Did
and
you
what
bring
was the other one?
diagrams?
What was the other one?
Fish or merman. So fish on top, person bottom.
I guess I'm going to go with the reverse centaur.
Yeah, that's probably.
I don't have a lot of justification for it, but
Yeah.
Why is this a bad decision, Michelle?
No, that was quicker than I expected. I just feel like you need to get buzzed on a question like this.
Do you
There's
It
a
took
lot at
time to
stake.
envision it. I mean, I was trying to
Yeah.
envision it myself. It's got a
What-
horse and
2
a
horse
fish
arms.
Yeah. So
So these are hooves.
yeah, those are hooves.
And then you have legs.
And then you have
Wow.
So the website I got these from actually had pictures, and
That's
it's
what I
and they're
We
both
needed to visualize.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
that's-
fish on top is like, I mean,
You don't have
you're
arms.
vertical, right? So the fishes
Yeah.
You have
fishes
fins
are like that
probably,
way,
right?
Do you only have fins if you're a fish on top?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
legs.
that's
Yeah.
prohibitive.
Either one you choose, there's going to be a lot of practical, real life consequences.
There are.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 If
And
you
benefits.
if
Yeah.
you were half centaur, you would be a real naysayer.
Nice, nice.
He's gonna fit in great.
Yay!
Great puns and great questions.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
I feel like you really got to know me better with that last one too, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did.
This is everything we need to know.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think we've had a great time getting to know Fellipe. We're really excited to welcome you to TEDS and to learn more about you. And we're certainly excited for our students to benefit from your wisdom and your cultural knowledge.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here and to join you.
Wonderful. Well, that's just the forward. I'm Madison Pierce.
I'm Fellipe Dovale.
I'm Michelle Knight.
I'm James Arcadi.
And I am Josh Jitt.
Thanks, y'all.
Foreword is a podcast hosted by faculty at Trinity Evangelical Divinity School. The views expressed by the hosts and guests of Foreword do not necessarily represent the views of Trinity Evangelical Divinity School. You can subscribe to our newest episode on your preferred podcast app or at forwardpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Foreword Podcast to get updates and additional links to content. Trinity Evangelical Divinity School is located 25 miles north of Chicago with extension sites across the country and online. Trinity educates men and women to engage in God's redemptive work in the world by cultivating academic excellence, Christian faithfulness, and lifelong learning. You can find more information at teds.edu.